Hello, my name is Tinuke Fawoli and I welcome you to Parenting in Diaspora. I thank you for all the responses and comments on my last video. And I found out that the mistake of not teaching our children how to speak their native language is one that most of us have made. And not only did we admit that we have made those mistakes, there was also a sense of resignation that we already made the mistake and there's nothing that can be done about it. It's too late. Well, I'd like to say that it is actually possible to do something about it. So our topic today is going to be practical solutions to the native language problem. And this video is going to be in two parts. First, we're going to deal with the myths and the facts. There's a myth that there's a window of opportunity between the ages of 0 and 5 that you can actually teach your children to speak their native language, and that once you miss that opportunity, it's gone. You're not able to teach them anymore. The fact is that it's never too late to learn a second language. Your child is never too old for you to be able to teach them. People learn new languages at age 40, 50, 70, so there's no age limit to when anyone can learn a second language. Another myth is that children get confused if you introduce more than one language at a time to them. That is also not true. Human beings have the capacity to learn several languages. As a matter of fact, speaking 3 languages is not a strange phenomenon at all. It's actually common in many parts of the world. Another myth is that if both parents do not speak a language, then it is impossible for the child to speak that language. The fact is that a parent can be fluent in Italian, the other parent fluent in Spanish, and you can teach your child how to speak French. I know that it sounds crazy, but the brain that God has given us is just incredible like that. You can actually have 2 parents who do not speak the native language and they're still able to teach that child the native language. So we're going to discuss these solutions in different categories. So we're going to deal with the category of children that are below the age of 5, and then children that are above 5 up until they leave home, maybe around 18. And then we deal with adult children who are now in college, are out working, or are married. With the 0 to 5, you have the best situation because they're a captive audience. What you give to them is what you're going to get back. If you have children that are older than 5 years old and they're still at home, you actually have to sit down with them and have a conversation as to how you have come about this and all the advantages that it will be for them. Now, for children who are not teenagers, it will be easier to have that conversation and get a good response and probably draw out a plan as to what you're going to do. I can tell you that if you have teenagers, you might get some resistance because they're at the point of their lives where they're finding their social identity, and that is mostly with their friends. So if they're already comfortable speaking the language that they and their friends understand, they may not see why they need to learn some obscure native language somewhere. So you may get a resistance, but still have the conversation with them, because in the future when they become adults, they may regret the fact that they did not learn the language, but they won't blame you for not telling them about it. For your adults who are in college, out working, married, having children, you actually have a willing audience because they are at the point in their lives where they are sure of their identity and they want to connect with their roots. But if you have not given them this tool, they feel a sense of loss because they know who they are. They know what languages they should understand, what culture they should know, but they don't. So you'll find them a willing audience that are ready to work with you as you try to introduce this new language. So this is not going to be an easy journey, but it's definitely possible. And it is true that the later we start, the harder it is to do, but it is still possible. For the 0 to 5 age group, I actually interviewed a friend of mine, Ada, a few days ago, because she has experience in this area, and here's how the conversation went. So Ada, you know you're my hero because you have 3 children between the ages of 3 and 9. You had them in this country, you still live in this country, America, and all of them speak your language, Igbo. So I want you to introduce yourself to our viewers and tell us how you did it.
Okay. Hi, my name is Adi Konde. I am a mother of 3, like Auntie said, and a wife of 1 man. And I'm also a nurse practitioner. And how I did it was just to speak the language to them. I think the challenge we face sometimes is we never speak it to them. We resort to speaking English, which is the easier option. But right from birth, right from when I delivered them, I spoke the language to them. And I was not the only one who spoke it. My husband speaks the same language. So he also spoke the language to them, and we have a policy whereby when we're home, we speak Igbo. That's the only language we speak.
Did you have any challenges when you started school?
Yes, we did. We had challenges with the oldest specifically. It took a little while for him to speak because he couldn't decide if he was going to speak Igbo or if he was going to speak English. And I remember when in one of the kindergartens he went to, he was trying to poop and he couldn't tell them I wanted to poop in English. And the lady said, well, you need to teach your child in English how to poop. And I looked at her and I'm like, no, he'll figure a way to tell you what he needs to tell you. So we had that challenge, and we also had challenges from our fellow Nigerians, Africans who lived here before we came here. One of our greatest supporters at the beginning was our pediatrician, Dr. Carla Neal Haley. She's an African-American lady, and she encouraged us to speak the language to the kids. And she gave us statistics about kids doing academically well who spoke more than one language, so she encouraged us. But I know a lot of our Africans kept saying, no, you shouldn't do that, they're going to be behind academically. Well, by God's grace, all of our kids are at the top of their classes, they all get the highest GPA, and they're doing well academically. So speaking a different language or speaking a second language does not hinder your child academically.
So you started when your children were born. So what advice do you have for people whose children are already 10 years old, whatever? Do you think it's possible still?
It is possible. I learned how to speak Igbo when I was 11. My parents never spoke Igbo to me. And I remember one of my aunts, my mom's younger sister, chiding my parents and saying, teach the kids the language, how will they learn it? But they spoke English to us. I had to live with my grandmother when I was 11, and she didn't speak English, so I had to learn. And I also went to a state school, and everyone spoke Igbo, so I had to. The first year they laughed so hard at me because I couldn't speak it, but I learned to speak it. So it's never too late. We as human beings are the ones who put limit on things that the brain can do. The brain can absorb as much as you throw it into him. If you have a child who you've never spoken a different language to, teach them the basic, teach them the alphabet. Make out time, because you're the one who will teach them what they need to know. Make out the time. Speak the language to them. That is the biggest thing. Stop speaking English. Just speak the language to them. If they don't understand points, use diagram, use other nonverbal cues to teach them the language. The more you expose them to it, the better they become at it.
Thank you so much, Ada. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. So I hope you learned something from Ada. It is possible. In part 2, I'm going to talk about the rest of the age groups, the 5 and above that still live in the home, the adults who have left home, and our adults who are actually out and married and are having children of their own. Thanks for watching, and remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and stay tuned for part 2. God bless.